writing process for Your Love. When you're writing something for your own artist project, I think it's really important that you come in with a lane, right? So that you can at least guide the initial conversation and then allow these amazing creative people do their thing and put their take on it. And on that day, we wrote For Your Love. The idea I came in with was, a couple years ago, I got really sick. And I think really since then, a lot of the music I've written has been about the process of putting that all back together. And I've certainly written songs about the initial shock and trauma, which I think a lot of people go through in a lot of different ways. But this one I wanted to focus on was a slightly different aspect of that. I specifically remember being in a hospital and calling my then fiance and saying, okay, the life we thought we were gonna have is gonna be different now. And that's a really hard thing, not just for me, but for her as well. And to her credit, she didn't even blink. She was on the next flight from the East Coast out to Chicago where I was. And that's an amazing thing, and I'm very lucky to have that. The thing I wanted to focus on though, was not that initial traumatic event, but what about after that? Whenever anything horrible happens or anything traumatic happens to anyone, sure, the initial onset is one thing, but what about when you have to put all the pieces back together? And I think For Your Love was about that day in, day out commitment as I put myself back together and the support I had to do that. So when I came into the session for Your Love, I wanted to write something that was super anthemic and kind of unapologetic, that shows love not necessarily as a feeling, but as an action, and as an action that is consistent. Just because I've been on the receiving end of so much of that, and I think the amazing thing with For Your Love was I thought it was aggressive in a way, and I thought it was unapologetic, and kind of that in-your-face production and vocal style. But what I was really surprised about was how many people said they were inspired by it. I got quite a few messages from people doing chemo with their loved ones listening to that song. I never thought I would get messages like that. So, to get them is such an amazing thing, and I'm incredibly grateful for
Fire
it.
in my blood when I do feel love.
The production process for Your Love. I feel like the musical ups and downs of writing, recording, and putting a song out are just massive. And what I loved about For Your Love is very similar to the song in terms of dynamics. It's it was either awesome or terrible, and most of the terrible parts were my fault. When I think about the important things in this song, I came in with that acoustic idea, that just arpeggiated intro, and that really was the springboard for it. And it will always be a cool memory for me. When I look back, and I'm 80 years old, and I look back at the music I was able to put out, I think I'll always have memories of that day. And one of the cool things about this one was, we did it at the Sony ATV studio in New York, which I'm sure as a 13 years old, I would have thought was so cool. So I think that definitely added to the vibe. On the production side, we wanted to keep things very much big and focused, and we didn't want to overcrowd the track. And I give Dominic Florio all the credit in the world. We really built it around that acoustic guitar and the vocal. And I think some of the best memories of making music has been the goofing around afterwards. We had a couple beers, we had just finished producing, a demo version of it. And I said, oh yeah, it's kind of cool, it's taking on this Braveheart Celtic vibe. And Dom was like, huh. And then he pulled up a dulcimer sample on his MIDI keyboard, and he ran through the bridge of the song, and he just played this awesome part, and I started losing it. And it's that's in the song now, right? And it just goes to show you though that if you're kind of open to just letting things happen, it's amazing what talented people can do with it.